Jim here is going to share his testimony about how God set him free from addiction.
Okay, go back junior in high school. Pretty, I don't know, it wasn't my crowd, if you will, but I come home one day and the first time I ever smoked pot was in my living room with my mom and dad.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
And, my mom looked at me and she said, basically, she said, if you're going to learn about this, you should learn about this here.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, so I understand that. I probably wouldn't agree with that today, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It is what it was. And today I will tell you that I think marijuana is probably the most insidious drug there is. Simply because everybody thinks it's harmless.
Yeah.
And especially for growing and developing bodies and minds in like early teens and whatever, I think it's devastating. I mean, if you're dealing with cancer and you're 60, 70 years old, go for it. You're developed.
Okay.
But so, and I didn't have God in my life at all growing up. So that he wasn't an influence. And so I went for 20 some years, and I progressed, to this drug and that drug. And by the late 80s, I was doing a lot of rock cocaine and things like that, and it really wasn't good. And I happened to be living in Las Vegas, and so add to that, gambling and things like that. But so I hit bottom.
Yeah.
And I bounced. And again, no Lord. Didn't have the Lord. But I knew, just for some reason, I knew I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I was, parents and family and I had been living in San Francisco prior to that. So I went back to San Francisco. The part that's interesting is that when I went back to San Francisco, I went back to the people I knew, that I had known for over a decade. And I'd go back to my Cheers, my little bar, and 2 o'clock would come and the doors would close, and the group that was in would be, and boom, the lines would come out on the bar. But for some reason, I had absolutely, and it was not an act of will, for some reason I had no desire.
Yeah.
And literally had no problem going out. And, of course, they're like, cool, more for us.
Yeah.
So and they knew me well enough to know there was no suspicion. It's like, ooh, this.
Yeah. And they didn't feel judgment either?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and because honestly, I wasn't in a position where I was going to be judging them.
Right, sure.
That takes a different comprehension.
Yeah.
So fast forward, at least 10, 15 years. Now, thank God I come to Texas, and I go to church and start to begin to know the Lord. And in looking back in retrospect, and I learn about things like providence and how, and His will, His mercy, His grace. And I realize that was Him.
Yeah.
That was Him. There was never, guys, honestly, it was not my will to say, I need to quit this. There was never that moment.
Yeah.
Where I said, I can do this, or I wasn't looking for a support network.
Yeah.
It was just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no desire. There was no struggle. There was no nothing, and that, it was pure.
Yeah. That's true freedom.
It really was, and it, it's not like I became enlightened, you know, but it was an integral part that now absolutely helps shape me, you know?
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Anything else? So, the idea behind the channel is to, well, support God in His dream of us, His kids, deeply connecting with Himself and each other.
Right.
So, any thoughts that you would have related to being set free that are also related to connecting with Him, connecting with others?
The only thing that's really comes to mind is that, you know, we base a lot of things on our language and how we phrase things. And maybe the realization that being set free is about being bound to Him
Yeah.
and to His rules.
Yeah.
He's not. See, part of it is being a boomer, okay, I actually am dealing with a sense of really feeling responsible in so many ways, my generation,
Yeah.
for why the world is so messed up right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
because my
Right.
generation was all about bring it down, man, free love, voodoo, you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what? We got our wish.
Wow. Yikes.
We got our wish.
Yeah.
We actually bear responsibility for how much chaos. Because all that stuff was about chaos.
Yeah. Wow.
How much chaos there really
Interesting.
is. And so
Yeah.
I'm convicted, if you will, at this point,
Yeah.
to try and do whatever I can to. I can't go back and change anything, but I can let people know that He is about a God. He's a God of order.
Yeah.
It's not about just do what you feel, man. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not. God, He died for your sins, man. You're cool. You know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's you're even more constricted
Yeah.
than the world wants, but be a joy with it.
Yeah.
And it's rewarding
Yeah.
like nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you point out the not just acknowledging, oh yeah, He died for my sins, we're cool, because it gives a false impression to everyone that that's how it is when it's not. So I
Like I said, that's
yeah.
why I mean I think that the roots of that stem from my let it all go, man. You know, that there's look, no chains on me, Pinocchio.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there are no strings on me, right? You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it isn't really how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Something will have strings on you.
Yeah.
The world.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.